Hello and welcome to Luna View. I'm your host John, and this is the family farm. Now, the last episode I talked about the 70s and some things that went on there and stuff. So now we are the early 80s, very early 80s, the first 3 years, 80, 81, 82. And in late 79, maybe it's 78, 79 I believe, we had the Dutch elm disease come through, and it nabbed this tree right here. So it was cut down and taken away, so that's why it looks like this now. Also, in 81, we got a dark green Crown Victoria, so I got the lime green car to drive to school. And we also got an 81 black and red Ford. But I have to tell you, we did miss something back in the 70s. I didn't put it in. This was our truck in 76. Dad had the car and the truck in 76, and it was orange. It had the white Explorer package on it, so it had a stripe along the side. It said Explorer. It had the custom hubcaps that looked like rims like that. But yeah, we had a white cap on it, and yeah, it was the truck I got my license in, actually. So yeah, good old orange truck. But he traded it in on the red and black one at the time. So as the farm was coming out of the 70s, Dad was nearing 50, or about 50, and he was looking at retiring. That's what he wanted to do. He wasn't thinking that, his son, I was only 16 at the time, would be taking over a farm or anything like that. He thought I should be going to school, enjoying life, and not being stuck doing barn work. That was his thoughts. My thoughts were a bit different, but I went along with that plan, and, I never went really back to farming full time after that. But, yeah, so not a lot of money was spent on expanding or doing anything to the barn because, he was looking at retirement and basically putting his money away for that. So the only new stuff that came along at the time was stuff to do with haying and chopping up corn. So in the last episode, I forgot to mention, since the late 60s, there was an international hay bine. That's what he used to cut with, because, he didn't have the, the little cutters there that they used in the early 60s and stuff. He had a hay bine, and then he got a New Holland hay bine when I could start driving the tractor. And then he got another New Holland hay bine after that and got rid of the international hay bine. In 81, we got one of these guys and one of these guys here. We were both New Hollands. So, yeah, I switched it up from the hay bines and we started cutting that way. Our haying situation, it was just one guy in the field after it was raked. Basically, you got your 454 that was without the loader, the newer tractor we got. And we had the bale thrower. Yeah, so that's not a bale thrower, but, you get the idea. And, of course, we had 3 wagons that were racked up like that. Hold about 150 bales. That's what we can throw in there, the little small bales. And also, in late 1980 actually, we got this is not it, but it's the 484 International with the loader on it, and it's 55 horsepower tractor. And we also got a corn chopper, and not that type of wagon, but one of the ones with the hoops on top there to hold the silage or the corn chop when you're doing it. Yeah, so kind of a forage wagon, because we then unhooked it back there and then brought it out here, and we had feed troughs set up out here in the fall, and the cows would be fed corn supplements as well as grazing on the grasses. We were rotating them around the fields, actually, in this part. So, yeah, so that's how they got their feed in the early 80s there. cows, all of them. And one thing about, working in the old barn and stuff like that, my brother and I especially got numerous nails through our feet. There were boards that are turned upside down and everywhere in them lofts and stuff. And we're always getting, a nail through or something. I got a few, but nothing all the way through or anything like that. But I remember one day I was in the garage behind the house here, about where that lime green car is parked. And my brother was coming out of the old milk house out front here. And he was just hopping away, and he had a board on his foot. It's like he was just hopping. The board was still on his foot, and he's going, "I got the nails in my foot again." And I said, get it off," and he was hopping out by me, and I just kind of whacked down on it, and the board came right out of his foot. So he screamed a bit, but Mom took care of us. She was kind of a trained healthcare professional in Holland before she came over to Canada. And she knew how to take care of us pretty well there and stuff. She had us wrapped up, no problem at all. And we were out in the tractors not too long after that. So, yeah, it was pretty funny. That day he kept hopping out of the barn there with a board stuck to his foot. And because Dad, I was told, if you step on a nail, just step on the board quickly and get it out there, because you can't take the whole barn to the house. Very true. Very true. So, moving along with how we left the farm. Let's get into that. As I said, Dad was ready to retire. He wasn't looking at building a new barn, expanding, doing anything. He basically wanted to sell out and get into sales is what he did, and he did that a number of years. He struck up another business on his own with Gallagher Fencing, actually, and he done very, very well right into the late 90s, actually, when he actually really did retire then. But yeah, he wanted to let it all go. And there's numerous discussions and stuff like that. And yeah, we sold out to another Dutch farmer that was immigrating into Canada. They had the farm for 5 years, and they sold out to the farmers that are there today. And they were friends with us as well. They had a farm up the road, and they milked about 60, 70 head at the time back in the early 80s. And so in the late 80s, they bought this place. And now, if I can show you kind of from up here, the house and that shed, it's all still there. That's exactly where things are. But the barn, the hay barn behind, and all that's different. In fact, right at the back side of the barn here, this would be the front side of the big milking barn that they have there now. And the end of the barn goes back, because that tree's cut down, because the back of the barn goes way out here to the field now. Of course, the field doesn't rise that quickly in real life. It's more flat until it gets back a little bit, then it rises. But yeah, that's the way it looks today as we're looking at it, but a very massive, big 150 milking cow barn. Look at all these deer. You put the trees in, and they will come. I think that's how it works. Definitely how it works. I want to thank each and every one of you for, tapping the old button in there to come and join the video. I really enjoyed telling the story of the time of the farm. And this is our farm. This is where I grew up. And yeah, the memories are very pleasant. I always had a good time here. Always did. And I was a little bit too young, I guess, to really, know if I wanted to actually farm for a living or not. And as you grow old, you realize different things. But I got no regrets. I'm glad that I lived and grew up on a farm, and I'm glad I had the life I had as well. So, folks, take care, and look for an update on Erlengrat coming up. And I believe I'm going to continue with another story in the weeks to come. Take care.